Good evening, folks. My name is Matt Stover. I am the superintendent for Catawba County Schools, and you are joining our 100% virtual online Catawba Town Hall meeting. And this is the last of our 4 in this series, and we're thankful that you came online to join us today. I want to start by saying a big thank you to our students and of course you parents out there who've been helping to facilitate their online learning. And we know that this has not been an easy time for you folks or our students. We've seen some successes and we've seen some difficulties, and so we want to just thank you for giving it your best, and your students for giving it their best. We know we are, and that being said, I'm sure we have some staff watching tonight. And I would be remiss if I just didn't thank all our staff for all their hard work, all their new learning, and how they're trying to communicate differently to reach all our students at home. And so thank you to our staff as well. So that being said, it has been an interesting 6 or 7 months. And when I say interesting, there's been good times and there's been really difficult times. And I'm sure you guys have seen that as well, parents and students. And employees, regardless of what job you've been in, or regardless of what grade level you've been in for a student. We know that parents are working, they're coming home to help their child. We know that grandparents are trying to help out. We know that, a lot of different things are put in place, but we just want you to know that we understand it is not easy for you, and it's certainly not easy for us. But the good news is I think we're making some headway on student learning, and so for that, I'm very thankful. So I did want to say a couple of highlights that our teachers have noted about our parents, and that is the involvement and how much you guys have done to facilitate that parent. So a big thumbs up from our teachers and our staff, and from me. We appreciate that. We know that maybe you didn't go to school to be a teacher, but now you are there right beside your child, helping facilitate what the teacher's trying to teach them. So thank you so much. I tell you, our students for 100% virtual and online Catawba have been wonderful. They've been showing up, they've been doing their work, and it may not be easy for them, but they're certainly trying their best, and we certainly appreciate that. And we just want to thank you for your flexibility, the flexibility that you've given us and that we've given our students, and you guys, for being able to catch those lessons when you need to. Because we know that sometimes students need to learn after hours. And so that is one of the things that we're trying to do, is make it available for students who are having to watch their children or for watch their siblings, and for students who have other things that they have got to get done maybe during the set hours of the day. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible. But one of our major goals for our online learners is this idea of feeling at home with their school. And so I think we are doing a really good job of that in a lot of cases. We want, if you're an online learner from Catawba Elementary or Bandy's High School or St. Stephen's High School and St. Stephen's Elementary, whatever school you may be in, we really want you to feel connected to your school. And I want to tell you that we're working on that. And so if we have fallen short on that, I just want you to know that we've made that a priority, and we want to start making sure that you're getting the announcements at school. We want to make sure that our students are involved. They have the opportunity to do things with our face-to-face learners, virtually. So again, if there's something you see that you would like your child to be a part of, please let us know. And if we've missed it, I apologize. We're working in that area. And again, I think we're doing a lot of good work, but I know we can always improve. So tonight, I want to introduce our Director of Catawba County Public Health. She is our special guest tonight, and she's going to say a few words about a COVID update. I'll also be talking a little bit more about how virtual learning will stay the same and change over the next several months. And that being said, too, I think we're going to hit a lot of your frequently asked questions. However, if we don't, at the end of this, we will be answering all the frequently asked questions, and that document will be published after all our town hall meetings. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and now a friend of mine that we work together so closely on a daily basis, Ms. Jennifer McCracken, our Director of Public Health for Catawba County. She's going to give you some COVID-19 updates.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this town hall meeting tonight. We just appreciate just the partnership with Catawba County Schools and how we've worked together in order to provide a strong response to COVID-19. So thank you for Dr. Stover's leadership, as well as all the students, faculty, and staff. It takes everybody working together to do the right things to keep us safe and healthy, not only in our school buildings, but at home and also in our community. So thank you. So just wanted to talk about 3 points tonight. I'm going to start with some information about where we are in terms of COVID-19. We're going to talk about some prevention measures, and then I'm also going to talk about our school nurses and the value that they provide. But first, just as of today, we have had a total of 3,777 laboratory confirmed positive COVID-19 cases in Catawba County throughout the pandemic. We've also had 61 deaths of COVID-19 in our community, unfortunately. And so although if you've looked at the data over the last several months, really since July, the state as well as Catawba County has been on a decline. However, over the last few weeks, our cases have been rising significantly, as have our hospitalizations. And so that's not just for Catawba County, but that's also for North Carolina as a state. And so the experts anticipate as the weather starts to get cooler, more people are going to be moving inside, and that creates another opportunity for cases to go up as we face the winter months. And so what I want to emphasize is at this time, the overwhelming majority of cases that we've seen among school-age children have been due to outside exposure, meaning through family contacts, through gatherings of people, through community spread. And so I really want you to understand that and just know that prevention measures are certainly important. So thinking about those 3 W's that we hear so much about, wearing a face covering, washing hands or using a hand sanitizer, as well as waiting 6 feet apart and maintaining that social distance is so incredibly important. And so as we see our cases continue to grow, those 3 W's remain so important for us to adhere to, especially, when we are gathering. So if your family's gathering, you're getting together with friends, those sorts of situations, those 3 W's are very important. So wear a face covering, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet apart. Can't stress that enough. But the last thing I'll just emphasize to you and talk to you about is our school nurse program. And whether children are learning at home or whether they're learning in the school building, the school nurse is available to you. And so I want you to know that. I want you to reach out to them if you have questions. If you don't know who your child's school nurse is, please ask your student. They may know. If not, call the school and they can tell you and they can connect you with the school nurse. But she is an invaluable resource for you to use. And certainly throughout COVID-19, our school nurses have been on the front lines, and they are experts not only in the regular school nurse issues. Of course, they're experts in pediatrics, they're experts in adolescent health, but now they are truly experts in COVID-19, and they are a great resource for you and your families as you may have questions and those sorts of things. So please reach out to them. They are public health employees who are working each and every day out in the school buildings. They are fingertips. I've always said that our school nurses are the fingertips of public health out in the community, and they are so important each and every day to keep our school environment safe and healthy, but also be available to you as your students are learning at home. So in partnership with Catawba County Schools this year, we are able to add some temporary school nurse positions to give more school nurse availability to students, faculty, and staff. We've also, through a partnership with Catawba County Schools, been able to add 2 permanent school nurse positions. We're in the process of recruiting those right now. And so those will be even added resources to assist parents, students, faculty, and staff on a daily basis. So we're very excited about that. So certainly don't hesitate to reach out to them if you have questions. They're available and want to help in any way that we can. And so I'll close by saying, remember those 3 W's: wear a face covering, wash your hands, wait 6 feet apart. It is super important as we try to fight the spread of COVID-19 in Catawba County. So thank you.
Ms. McCracken, thank you so much. We appreciate your partnership, and we couldn't be doing this without you folks. So thank you so much. So at this time, I would like to introduce our Director of Online Learning. She's over my left shoulder, Mrs. Terry Hall, and she has been our Director of Online Learning for almost a year, maybe a little bit more now. And so we're super thankful to have her. Excuse me. So she's going to step in and explain a few things. But before we get there, I wanted to talk about kind of the history of online Catawba. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. That is one of the great things about doing a video chat is you can mute it and clear your throat. So please excuse me. All right. So I want to talk to you about online Catawba a little bit. So some of you are new to online Catawba because obviously through the pandemic, you felt it was safer to be part of that online learning, and we're glad to have you. Some of you have been here with us maybe since 2017 when we started. And so this year we've had to do some things differently. And I would like to tell you that it was our intention to start this school year and have our typical online Catawba process where you'd have an online teacher and an online teacher only. And unfortunately, we've had so much change and lack of personnel to adjust to that, and timing, just to be quite honest with you, that we've had to make changes to that. So I want to apologize that we have not been able to uphold that standard. We do have teachers doing both online and in-person teaching. And again, if I could have prevented it, I certainly would have. However, it just wasn't, it's just not possible right now. So I did want to tell you that I'm sorry that we've not been able to do that. Those of you who are new to online Catawba maybe not even understand that, but our folks who have been with us do understand that. Excuse me. So that being said, that's kind of the history there. So that has been our way of doing things. So now we've had to change, and I still think our product is good, and our teachers are doing a great job. But there will be some changes moving forward. And so one of the questions that's come out to us is, hey, Catawba County Schools, how is Plan A going to affect my virtual student? And the answer to that question is it may and it may not. So right now we are bringing students back into the schools. You know that we're having to balance personnel, and so because of that, we're some of our face-to-face learners and some of our online learners may have to go into a different class and may have a different teacher. And we know that is not the best case scenario. Unfortunately, we can't prevent that. But I would like to bring your attention to the fact that, you know, in many cases, many classrooms will have a maternity leave or unfortunately a sickness, and we have to bring in a substitute. In this case, when we do switch, you'll have a certified, very well qualified teacher, whether if you were face-to-face or if you were all virtual. And we're having to do that for social distancing, and our virtual classes, some of their class sizes got below 10, 11 and below. And we just couldn't, we don't have enough personnel to keep those smaller class sizes intact. So we've had to merge and shift, and that's why we need some time to integrate second and third and fourth and fifth for our in-person learners, as you may have heard. So I did want to explain that to you. That's our largest change at the elementary, and that's for elementary. Middle school and high school will not have many changes. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Terry Hall, and she's going to talk to you a little bit more about specifics in middle school and high school online learning, and maybe anything I left out at elementary school. So we're going to switch seats here, and just 1 second. Miss Hall's coming on up.
Good evening, everyone. So as Dr. Stover said, we will have some changes that are going to happen in our classes at the middle school level and at the high school level. And before I go into that, I want to thank our middle school and our high school teachers and our students. They have all come together and worked really, really hard this year so that they can have the same instruction that they're used to, but just in a very different way. So we're screen to screen now, and that's okay. We're really adjusting, and we're excited to see some of the things that are happening with our elementary, middle, and high schools. So I would start off by talking about the instructional changes at the middle school level. So you may know that for online Catawba, that model is completely or was completely asynchronous. So meaning what that means is it's always pre-recorded, so there wasn't a live teacher. Now that instructional delivery model has changed so that we can meet the needs of all of our students. And so we've worked with the principals and with the curriculum and instruction department to make sure that it was a good system set up for instructional needs for our students based on each school. Each school has different needs. So we set that up based on the instructional needs of each middle school. So some teachers will be teaching and are teaching online only. And then at some schools, we have teachers who are teaching both face-to-face class periods and then online class periods. They're not doing that at the same time. And again, that was just based on the needs of each middle school. Now, high school, very different. So semester one changes. Well, first I'll talk about semester one and online Catawba. There are no changes for online Catawba. So this is those fifth period online classes. The students signed up last spring. That's already in their schedule. Those were after school classes, or they could take them during the day in like a study period. So those, no changes there. But because the high school could not change the complete school schedule in such a fast turnaround time, we have teachers at schools who are teaching both online and face-to-face at the same time. And I'll tell you, this is a lot. This was a very ambitious task, and it's probably one that we will make definite changes to. So I'm going to talk about now semester two and what those changes are going to look like. So this is really important for parents and students to understand what will happen and what you need to do so that you can make sure that you can have the instructional model that you want. So for semester two, first, online Catawba, those same fifth period classes, no changes. That's going to stay the same. Now, high school students who want a fully virtual option from the school must respond to that survey that was emailed to them from their principal. This is really important. You will not be able to be a virtual student if you don't respond to that survey. And the deadline is October 21st, and it's at 5 p.m. So that's hugely important. All right, so here is the changes that will take place. So in November and December, it's going to be all hands on deck by all of the schools, the data managers, the counselors, the administrators. Everybody's going to be working together to make sure that we can make those class changes based on what that survey says that you, as students, submit. So here's an example of what that might look like. I might be a student that is taking an English class, and I'm taking it face-to-face, but I've decided I want to do all online virtual for semester two. I've submitted my form. And now, collectively, all of the forms that are together will start making those changes. And that's going to take about 2 months for all of the folks to make those changes. So I want you to be aware of the importance of getting those forms in on time, because we probably will not be able to accommodate after that point. So in January, the classes that all the changes are going to be made in Power School and for the student schedule and the whole school schedule. So those classes are going to be taught more like the middle school model that we talked about just a minute ago. So that's where teachers are teaching whole periods of just face-to-face or whole periods of online. They won't be trying to do both at the same time. So that's a significant change. It's a huge undertaking for our high schools, but they have been truly all hands on deck, everybody wanting to come together to make sure that that happens. So I want to address a question that came in about online Catawba specifically. So this is, again, back to those online classes that we've already had that Dr. Stover talked about, the program that was already in place. So the question was, will online Catawba continue to be an option for students even after COVID? And the answer, we are so glad, is yes. It was here before COVID, and it will be here during COVID. It's going to be here after COVID. So that program has grown, and we're so proud of the work that's being done. And I will leave you with just a couple of reminders. So parents and students, there are apps on mobile apps that you can put on your phone. Parents, you can stay connected to your students and the work they're doing, their attendance, their grades. The three I'm going to point out to you are PowerSchool, Canvas, and Google Classroom. You can put those on your phone. They're all free, and you can just stay connected in that way. Also, parent-teacher conferences have not gone away. I want you to know you can, just like we're connecting screen to screen, you can connect with your teachers that way, but you also have the option to connect with your teachers by scheduling a face-to-face conference inside the building. You're welcome to do that as well. Teachers have been incredibly flexible, and one of the things we hear time and again is how much they've enjoyed meeting with parents this year. So I'll do one final plug. Students, if you want to be a virtual student for semester 2, you must submit that survey by the 21st, 5 p.m. on the 21st. And thanks again to everybody who's been working together to make this such a successful year.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Hall. We're so thankful for her and her expertise and all our online teachers. We've learned a lot, and we continue to grow, and we know we have so many students that have been successful in those forums. So I'm going to end up with a few things tonight. Another question that's come about in all levels, face-to-face or in or all virtual, has been about the quantity of work and expectations. So the first thing I want to tell you is that we've asked our teachers to plan about an hour of work per class. In a high school, that's 4 classes. Unless you have a 5th period, that'd be 5. So what we know about that is this. And the reason we say an hour is when a teacher plans about an hour of work for a student, that's with the videos, the PowerPoints, the screencasts, the questions, the answers, all of those things. We know that when they plan for about an hour, it's probably anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half for students. It just depends on their ability level. And so we are still, I think we've gotten a lot better quickly, but learning how to balance that. Is this too much or too little? But we need your help. If it is too much, just let us know. And if it's not enough, let the teacher know. We are certainly not perfect, and if you just let us know, we'll work with you on that. The other part of that was this idea of where did that come from, this 4 to 6 hours? Did Catawba County just make this up? No, we are not the experts either. We depend on educational research. So our Friday Institute actually in North Carolina is where we found that study about the time of planning and what that equates to student work. So that's why we hold value to that 4 to 6 hours a day of work. And again, if it's not, just contact your teacher and we will work with you on that. Also note that when you do think about contacting your teacher, depending on their workload, right now is a lot. And so, and they're stretched very thin, especially at the high school level. You might not get an answer after 5 o'clock. And the reason maybe is because I've said, hey, teachers, you need to take a break. You need to have time with your family. There's this idea of law of diminishing returns. We need you all semester. We need you all year. And if you're burning it from 7 to 10 o'clock at night, in some cases we're going the first few weeks, it just won't work for the students, parents, or staff when it's all said and done. Now, I know we have teachers out there doing that, and that's perfectly fine. But I also wanted to empower those who really have a family and need to help their own children after hours. Excuse me. So I really appreciate your patience and flexibility on that, parents. Thank you so much. So the last thing, two things. State assessments are still on, and they will be face-to-face, and we'll have a lot more about the logistics on that later. So please plan on that for right now. I will tell you that I'm advocating for those state assessments to go away. I don't think this is the time nor place to be doing that. And so if you're a fan of state assessments, I apologize, but I think right now this is just not a good opportunity for it. In fact, I was on a meeting yesterday with DPI, North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, about the importance of these things going away. And in fact, as we were learning this through the federal government, so they're working with them on getting a waiver. But for right now, we are on face-to-face 4-hour end of course tests. Lastly, I just want to talk about extracurriculars. Folks, I hope you do know, if you don't know already, you are part of your school, you are part of that community, you are welcome to our extracurriculars, our sports, our ROTC, our band, whatever it may be that we can put you a part of. We want your children to be part of our schools. And so just a reminder there, as we have more extracurriculars come about based on safety, then you'll hear more about those as well. We are going to try to have sports at middle school. We're not sure the timing on that, so just bear with us on that. We are trying to follow the High School Athletic Association. Our high school sports do start November 4th, I think that's swimming, cross country, and volleyball. And I will say for high school sports that do start, that I just heard from the North Carolina High School Athletic Association today that there will be only limited spectators inside. I think it was 25. So basically that means that we won't have any, because we can't allow just cherry pick 25 parents of or not. So be prepared that we may have to start sports without spectators on the inside, and outside we're only allowed to have 50 or 7 per 1,000 square feet, or whichever of those is less. So you can never have more than 50 regardless. So I just want to give you the heads up on that. But we are excited to have our extracurriculars available to our online learners. Lastly, I just want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your flexibility. We're so thankful that you're with us. We're thankful that we may not get to see you in person, but we get to see you virtually. I know I've been in several schools, and I've actually gotten online with maybe some parents, students have been in here, and I get to say hello to them. I know our principals are trying to stop in when our teachers are teaching, just to say hello. We want to continue that relationship with your child. That's the best part of education, is the kids. And so we miss them. We can't wait to see them again eventually. And we hope you stay safe. And thank you for being a partner in your child's education. You guys are doing amazing work at your house, helping to facilitate. Folks, that's all I have tonight. I don't think I've missed anything. I'm looking over at my cheat sheet. I got somebody on a back channel, and you guys all know what back channels are. And it doesn't appear like I've missed anything. Folks, I'm Matt Stover, and I am so glad you joined us tonight. We hope you have a good evening. Thank you.